Imagine the frozen depths of Siberia, where the eternal ice has hidden something unimaginable for millions of years. The discovery was so shocking that even the most brilliant scientists were left at a loss for answers. It seemed like just another day at work until a group of miners dug too deep and found something that should never have been revealed. At first, it looked like just an ordinary rock, something natural. However, upon removing the dirt and debris, it became evident that the object was truly unique. Right before them was a massive marble sarcophagus, carved with astonishing perfection. The ice preserved it intact, giving the impression that a far more advanced civilization created it. The coffin, unlike anything seen before. Without machinery to aid them, they struggled for hours, attempting to lift the unmovable lid. As if by some unseen force, the sealing mechanism began to break apart under the heat of the sun, melting away before their eyes. Slowly, the cover slid open, revealing something that defied the laws of time and nature. Lying inside the sarcophagus was a woman, her body in a state beyond perfection. Her preservation defied natural decay mains. This was something different. Her skin was flawless, untouched by decay, as if she had just been placed there moments ago. Her hair, dark and flowing, cascaded over her shoulders, shimmering in the dim light. She wore a white dress so delicate it seemed unreal. The fabric, light and transparent, was unlike anything she had ever seen, with embroidery so detailed that not even modern technology could reproduce it. A strange pink liquid surrounded her, filling the sarcophagus to the brim. It was no ordinary embalming fluid. Its purpose was something far greater. Some of the men dared not get closer, a deep instinct warning them of something they could not explain. As word of the discovery spread, authorities quickly stepped in. The leader of the mining team, Alexander Masalagan, sent an urgent message to the higher ranks. Within hours, a convoy of Soviet officials arrived, taking control of the site. Armed soldiers surrounded the area, blocking any attempts to document the scene. The miners, who had unearthed what could have been the greatest discovery in human history, were ordered into silence. Scientists brought to examine the body uncovered findings that sent shockwaves through their ranks. The woman's genetic structure was identical to that of modern humans. Yet the carbon dating results defied logic. The sarcophagus had sealed her for 800 million years. At that time, Earth had not yet seen the rise of even the most basic life forms as known by modern science. The existence of a human being in that era was impossible, yet here she was, untouched by the passage of time. Among the items discovered within the sarcophagus was a small black box, hidden beneath the pink liquid. Despite its striking resemblance to modern electronic devices, no one had ever seen anything like it before. The surface was smooth, and its composition could not be identified using Soviet technology. Attempts to analyze its function led to unexplained malfunctions in laboratory equipment, as if the device operated beyond known scientific principles. Curiosity led one of the miners to make a mistake that would prove fatal. Dipping his fingers into the pink liquid, he brought a drop to his lips. The reaction was not immediate, but in the days that followed, his mind began to unravel. He spoke in tongues unknown, his thoughts fragmented, his eyes distant. His condition worsened rapidly. Soon he wandered the frozen landscape aimlessly, unable to recognize his own home. We later found his body frozen solid, his expression twisted into something unnatural, as though he had seen something beyond comprehension before his final breath. Remember to join our community by subscribing to this channel. The government moved swiftly to eliminate all traces of the discovery. The sarcophagus and its contents were transported to a secure facility in Novosibirsk, where the woman's body was kept under strict surveillance. Scientists worked tirelessly, but the more they uncovered, the less sense it all made. The pink liquid, when drained, caused the body to age thousands of years within seconds, reducing it to dust. When returned, the preservation was instant, as though time itself had been paused within its embrace. Years later, whispers of the woman in the sarcophagus resurfaced. A former Soviet scientist, now aged and living in exile, spoke of 3 more sarcophagi found in the same region. Each contained human remains perfectly preserved, each submerged in the same mysterious pink liquid. These bodies, unlike the first, were men with strikingly similar features, as if they had been placed there for a purpose unknown. The scientific community remained divided. Some dismissed the findings as myth, fabricated to stir controversy. Others, particularly those who had once worked within the Soviet research facilities, knew better. The sarcophagus had existed. The pink liquid had defied explanation. The woman who was buried millions of years before human civilization even began was more than just a story. The discovery of the ancient sarcophagus in Siberia should have been one of the greatest breakthroughs in human history. Instead, it became a case buried in secrecy, silenced by the very authorities who should have studied it. In the days following the discovery on September 5, 1969, Soviet officials arrived in Rzhavchik, Siberia, cutting off access to the site and seizing control of everything within it. The miners who had uncovered the coffin were escorted away, and the excavation site was immediately cordoned off. KGB agents moved swiftly, ensuring that no photographs, samples, or records of the discovery would leave the site. Every document was confiscated, and every piece of evidence was removed. No reports were published, no official statements were made, and those who attempted to discuss the finding vanished under unknown circumstances. Despite the Soviet Union's long history of suppressing inconvenient discoveries, this event stood apart. It was not just an archaeological anomaly, it was a direct challenge to everything known about human history. The woman found inside the sarcophagus was not a relic of a lost civilization or an ancient burial site. Her existence suggested something far more unfathomable, something that could rewrite everything humanity believed about its origins. With the body and the sarcophagus transferred to a government-controlled laboratory in Novosibirsk, scientists were ordered to analyze its contents under strict secrecy. The first priority was the pink liquid that surrounded the body. Its properties were unlike anything known to science, capable of preserving flesh indefinitely. The moment it was drained, the body deteriorated rapidly, crumbling to dust, as though time itself had been compressed within her remains. When the liquid was returned, the decomposition reversed, and the woman's pristine state was restored. The small black device found near her head proved even more perplexing. Soviet scientists examined its smooth, metallic structure, completely devoid of any visible seams or buttons. Low electromagnetic pulses emanated from it, seemingly driven by an unidentified energy source. The material was unidentifiable, unresponsive to heat, pressure, or any conventional form of analysis. When exposed to electronic measuring devices, it disrupted the readings, causing malfunctions in multiple pieces of lab equipment. With no explanation for these anomalies, the project quickly escalated to the highest levels of Soviet intelligence. They decided to classify every aspect of the discovery as state property and issued a total suppression order. Anyone with knowledge of the event, including the miners, scientists, and local authorities, was sworn to secrecy under threat of imprisonment, or worse. In 1973, 4 years after the initial discovery, the mining site was permanently shut down. The government gradually evacuated the town of Rzhavchik, the site of the sarcophagus's discovery. Over the years, the government constructed a massive landfill over the site, ensuring no one would ever return to investigate. The area, once a thriving industrial hub, was erased from maps, its name removed from regional records. Despite the Soviet Union's efforts to conceal the truth, whispers of the event persisted. Former miners who had been at the scene, unable to speak publicly, began telling their families cryptic accounts of what had happened. Some described the woman in the sarcophagus as something divine, others as an entity beyond human comprehension. By 1975, nearly every direct witness to the discovery was either missing or deceased. Several miners were reported to have died under mysterious circumstances, one in a vehicle accident with no clear cause, another from a sudden mental breakdown that led to his suicide. Those who had examined the pink liquid, particularly the miner who had tasted it, exhibited severe psychological disturbances before meeting untimely deaths. Within Soviet research facilities, information regarding the sarcophagus was fragmented between different departments, ensuring that no single individual had access to the full scope of the discovery. This method of compartmentalization prevented leaks, and by the 1980s the sarcophagus had become an urban legend within classified government circles, its details buried in the depths of Cold War secrecy. In 1991, following the collapse of the Soviet Union, a former KGB officer leaked information about the discovery to a journalist. He described how the sarcophagus had been transported to a hidden research facility and how high-ranking officials had witnessed the impossible properties of the pink liquid firsthand. As the years passed, pieces of the story began to resurface. Independent researchers uncovered records hinting at 3 additional sarcophagi found in the same Siberian region, each containing male bodies preserved in an identical manner. The timeline of these discoveries remains unclear, but evidence suggests they were found in secret excavations between 1972 and 1978. Deep within the laboratories of Novosibirsk, Soviet scientists worked tirelessly to unravel the enigma of the woman found in the sarcophagus. The discovery had already shaken the foundations of history, but as the analysis progressed, it became clear that conventional science could not explain what lay before them. Every test, every examination, only deepened the mystery. The body was completely intact, unaffected by time or decay. Her skin remained soft, her muscles showed no signs of atrophy, and her cells displayed no degradation. This was something else entirely, something no known preservation method could replicate. The pink liquid, the key to her unnatural state, was unlike any substance encountered before. It was neither water, oil, nor any known preservative. Its molecular structure defied analysis, resisting decomposition, and maintaining a composition that science could not replicate. More disturbingly, it seemed to interact with organic matter in ways beyond explanation. When extracted from the sarcophagus, the liquid lost its properties almost immediately, becoming inert. However, upon its return, the body regained its pristine condition. Are you enjoying the story? Support our channel by clicking the subscribe button. The implications were staggering. If the liquid truly had the power to suspend aging, it would be one of the greatest discoveries in medical history. Yet each time scientists attempted to synthesize it, the samples failed to maintain stability. It was as if the substance was only effective within the confines of the sarcophagus, as though something beyond chemical science dictated its function. Deeper analysis of the woman's remains only added to the confusion. The first genetic tests confirmed what should have been impossible. She was completely human, not an anomaly, not an extraterrestrial being, but genetically identical to modern-day Homo sapiens. Theories emerged, each one more unnerving than the last. Some scientists proposed that the sarcophagus was a product of an unknown, advanced civilization, one that predates all recorded history. Others suggested something even more terrifying, that the woman had been placed in stasis by forces beyond human comprehension. The presence of the black device found beside her head intensified these speculations. Unlike any artifact known to archaeology, the object had no discernible buttons, no seams, and no visible means of operation. It emitted faint pulses of electromagnetic energy, yet when disassembled it contained no identifiable circuits or components. The more scientists examined it, the more unsettling the results became. Several researchers working closely with the artifact began reporting strange occurrences, flickering lights, objects shifting position on their own, and an overwhelming sense of being watched. Whether these were mere hallucinations brought on by exhaustion or something far more sinister, no one could say with certainty. Then there were the effects of the pink liquid on living subjects. Against every ethical boundary, Soviet authorities approved limited human trials. Laboratory animals received low doses, leading to unusual biological reactions. Some subjects displayed accelerated healing, while others exhibited erratic behavior, as though their very minds had been altered. One experiment involving a human volunteer ended in disaster. The subject experienced severe psychological disturbances, speaking in a language unknown to modern linguistics, before descending into a catatonic state. Fearing the unpredictable nature of these results, the project was eventually halted, and all further research into the pink liquid was ordered classified. The sarcophagus was locked away, the woman's body preserved under strict control, and every record of the experiments sealed within Soviet archives. The conflicting nature of the findings created a deep divide within the scientific community. The clash between science and the unexplained had never been clearer. Every rational theory failed in the face of a discovery that defied logic. The woman was human, yet she belonged to a time before history began. The liquid was real, yet its properties operated beyond known chemistry. The black device existed, yet its function remained an enigma. While the Siberian sarcophagus remains one of the most disturbing cases of hidden history, it is not the only instance where forbidden artifacts and unexplained preservation have emerged. Throughout history, there have been other discoveries, equally impossible, equally terrifying, that have been buried, erased, or ignored by mainstream science. One such case took place in Moberly, Missouri, in the late 19th century. A group of coal miners working at a depth of more than 100 feet below the surface unearthed an enormous underground city. According to reports, the city contained wide stone streets, massive archways, and the remains of a civilization unlike any known to history. Even more shocking was the discovery of human skeletons measuring over 9 feet in height, giants who should not have existed in any known evolutionary timeline. The news spread quickly, but just as suddenly as it surfaced, the discovery was suppressed. Scientists who tried to investigate were denied access, and soon all mention of the underground city vanished from historical records. Another baffling case comes from Romania, where in 1974, archaeologists unearthed what would later be known as the aluminium wedge of Aiud. Found buried 35 feet underground, the artifact was a metallic wedge composed of an aluminum alloy that could not have existed in Earth's technological history before the 19th century. The discovery of the object alongside mastodon bones, a species extinct over 11,000 years ago, was even more unsettling. If the wedge was truly that old, then modern metallurgy had existed thousands of years before history acknowledged it. Despite extensive testing, no conclusive explanation was ever given, and the object was quietly removed from public view. In a similar vein, the Dropa stones, discovered in China's Bayan Karaula Mountains in 1938, tell an even stranger tale. Archaeologists uncovered hundreds of stone discs, each engraved with tiny, intricate hieroglyphs. When deciphered, the inscriptions allegedly described an ancient race of beings who came from the stars, crashed on Earth, and could never return home. The Dropa stones were quickly dismissed as a hoax, but to this day they remain missing from public records, hidden away in private collections or secret vaults. These cases, along with countless other hidden discoveries, suggest that the Siberian sarcophagus was not an isolated anomaly. Instead, it may be one piece of a far greater, far older puzzle, one that humanity is not meant to solve. Every time a truth too vast to comprehend is uncovered, it is erased, classified, and buried under layers of secrecy. Whether these discoveries point to a lost civilization, an alternate human history, or something even more terrifying, one thing is certain: the past holds secrets far beyond what we have been told. The Siberian sarcophagus was more than just an archaeological discovery. It was a confrontation with a past that defies all logic and understanding. Every aspect of its existence challenged the limits of recorded history, from the perfectly preserved body of the woman to the mysterious liquid that defied decomposition. Even though it shouldn't have existed, it was genuine enough to remain hidden forever. If you're enjoying this story, consider clicking Super Thanks. Your support helps us uncover more hidden mysteries and bring you more mind-blowing content like this. The consequences of its discovery echoed through the years, leaving behind a trail of disappearances, unexplained deaths, and a government determined to erase every trace of what had been found. The scientists who attempted to study the sarcophagus were silenced. The town where it was discovered was wiped from official records, and the very ground where it had been unearthed was buried beneath layers of industrial waste. Something about that sarcophagus terrified those in power. Yet the true horror does not lie in the government's suppression of knowledge. It lies in what the sarcophagus represents. If a human body could be buried 800 million years before humans were ever supposed to exist, then the very foundation of history is a lie. If an unknown force could preserve life so perfectly, then the boundaries of science and reality have never been fully understood. And if there was one sarcophagus, there could be others, still waiting beneath the earth, hidden beneath layers of ice, stone, and secrecy. But secrets do not stay buried forever. As technology advances and more unexplored regions of the earth are uncovered, the past will continue to resurface. What was hidden will be found again, and the same choice will arise, to suppress the truth or to face it, no matter how terrifying it may be. Thanks for watching. Join our community by subscribing to this channel. Until the next video.